So here we are, part 2 of the Rice Horsebox conversion project, and that bright blue sky is a bit of a misdemeanor. It's been raining for what seems like weeks, but here we go. We left off with some rust and we begin with some rust. So it's about time I did something about all this rotten angle iron which makes the structure of our chassis of the Horsebox. So you get the large angle grinder out and cut out all the rust, and then carefully notch out this corner. Reason for doing so is so that we can put in a new piece of angle and it'll be nice and strong because it's neat. That's the idea, so being a little bit careful to get that nice and square. Then it's over to the Evolution miter saw to chop through this massive piece of angle iron and switch on my MiG 181 from Artec Welding and get that piece of angle tacked and then welded into the back. Using the ratchet strap there to pull the sides in to check that the width at the rear is the same as the width at the front, because this Horsebox hasn't had a rear cross member for quite a long time and it was a little bit out of shape. So with that in, Adam cut some other pieces of angle iron. These are the same dimensions as the original ones, to fill in those floor strengtheners, and I got it all welded in. There we go. Yes! The next job was to start removing the last remnants of the Horsebox, and that was the sort of hoof protection plates. These protect the outside panels, but a bit of a cowboy error here on Rice's behalf. These are steel panels and the outer panel is aluminium, and anyone that knows anything about metal knows if you put aluminium up against steel, it causes the aluminium to just break down into a bit of powder and corrode, which is what you can see there at the bottom of the Wrigley tin panel. And in the absence of a hammer, just smash it with your fist and it probably will come loose. There we go. So now it's time to turn my attention to the chassis and have a bit of a look with the needle gun. Good way of examining how solid it is. And then have a look at the brake expanders. So these are what cause the shoes to open out into the drum and cause the trailer to brake. And they're absolutely seized solid. So over to the vise, apply a bit of BDX lubricant to see if we can free them off. This didn't work, so give it a bit of an agitation with the hammer. This sometimes breaks off the rust, but if in doubt, fire. Fire is your friend. So heat them up, don't get them too hot. You don't want them glowing red or anything and hardening the metal, but heat them right up and then dunk them in water. So the heat causes the metal to expand, and then obviously the cold causes it to contract, and that usually is enough to break off the rust. And then with a little bit more gentle agitation, the mechanism starts to come free, and then you can work it about, get some more oil in there, and soon enough it was as free as a bird. Now of course you couldn't have done this with a hydraulic slave cylinder. Once they're gone, they're pretty much gone. You can change the seals, but because this is a purely mechanical mechanism, you can clean it all up, wire brush it all off and use it again. So now I turn my attention to the old grease. This really has seen better days, and it all needs to come out so that it doesn't cause sort of damage to our new bearings. We want this to be nice and clean with fresh grease, so there's no bits of anything in there going around the bearings and messing them up. So I took the old bearings out and gave them a clean. This is so I can take them down to Leicester Bearings and get them replaced like for like. And also, like I said before, get all of that grease from outside of the hub, from inside the hub, I should say. And
we're having a meeting. It's a meeting. I'm up in the window.
How can it be a meeting if you don't have a cup of tea in your hand?
Now Nigel does make a pretty valid point there about the meeting, so we decided to stop messing around and get on with the trailer. So here we are pressing in the new bearing faces on my hydraulic press. Now what I'm doing here is using one of the old faces to push in the new face so I don't put any damage on the side of it. And what I've done is I've cut a slit in the side of the old face so that it'll come out easily afterwards and get stuck in there. With that done, time to grease up the new bearings and get it all assembled on the hub, and that pretty much is all we've got time for this week.